Good evening, friends. Welcome back to the session. We have Saffron Tiger back with us. Welcome, Saffron.
Good evening, Meena ji and Jai Shri Ram to you and to all our viewers wherever they are. And it's again a pleasure to be sharing screen with you and looking forward to yet another candid session.
Yeah. So, Saffron, there's been a lot of things happening in India, and as you know, the biggest event is, of course, the Ambani's son's pre-wedding. All the celebrations. So we've got a lot on that, and also a bit of news on Ankita, who's still trying to cash in on her connection with SSR and trying to make some money out of that. So we'll start off with the Ankita, a little bit of news, Saffron. Now, Ankita, who's seen recently in Big Boss 17, is currently awaiting the release of her upcoming movie, Swatantra Veer Savarkar. The actress recently opened up about facing the casting couch at the age of 19. In an interview with Hotterfly, she said it in Hindi, so I'll just translate it. I gave an audition for a South film. I got a call to receive the signed amount. I was happy and told my mom that I would go to receive the signed amount. However, I was in two minds. How did this happen so easily? And she further revealed that when she reached to sign the contract, she was asked to compromise. When I went there, I was called alone inside the room while my coordinator was asked to sit outside. I was told you have to compromise. I was only 19 then. I had the aspiration of becoming a heroine. She further added how she dealt with it. So, what kind of compromise? So, he said you have to sleep with the producer. So she rejected the offer to the face of the person and said, I don't think your producer needs talent. He just needs a girl to sleep with. And I'm not that one. I just walked off. Meanwhile, after her stint in Big Boss, she'll be seen sharing screen space with Randeep Huda in the Savarkar movie, which tells a life story of the Indian freedom fighter. Now, one thing we've noticed, Saffron, is that this woman has been using SSR's name left and right, to get some kind of attention because she now has reached her midlife crisis and nobody really wants her. And she knows that unless she puts something which is a little meaty, nobody's going to even give her importance. Yes, Saffron.
Ma'am, you are right on the money when you said that she's been trying to get into news by using SSR's name. I believe that's what she did when she was in the Big Boss house. And now she's raking up issues about casting couch. It doesn't
Yes.
take a genius to understand that these issues have already and have been part of an inherent part of the film industry for a long time, and this does
Yes.
not happen not only here but it's a very global issue wherever in the showbiz industry. Not only actresses but even actors and other people are expected to compromise. I'm not sure what she's getting out of sharing this thing as if it's a
And something
new,
which she's done in the
yeah, something
past.
that the world does not know,
Yeah.
right? So it's really surprising that she's trying to get into news by using such cheap tactics. And excuse me, as far as SSR is concerned, we all know that she has used his name, she used his clout and whatnot to get into the film industry. And she was shameless to even share some Instagram story that karma is a bitch
Mhm.
when SSR got murdered. So yes, it's only a matter of time before karmic justice starts showing up at her doorsteps,
Yeah.
and probably it already has. That's why she has to use these cheap tactics to get into the showbiz industry and stay in the news.
And also the fact that, see, it's not only her. People like Vivek Oberoi also, has been delving into what he says. He went through a dark period, and then he says, he tries to compare that dark period to the time when Sushant, he says, committed suicide. So it's very similar, he says. So you see, there's an agenda in Bollywood which says that, see, can somehow turn the angle into a suicide.
Yes, it's very disheartening to see that people will go to any stretch or any length to garner attention, right? On one hand, like if he was so much if he was so much concerned about Sushant Singh Rajput, he should have raised some voice when the actual murder happened on that fateful night, right? But at that time, nobody was interested in saying a word. Everybody was scared of the government in the power at that time. And now, when they know that, you will see that all of these third class actors and actresses who did not make it into the film industry, they are using somehow his name to, maybe it's for garnering attention, maybe it's to, maybe there are some other innuendos behind it, or some other kind of insinuations that,
Why? The reason why I'm saying this, Saffron, is because see, if you look at Kangana has also suddenly made a U-turn and said that Sushant Singh's death would have been a suicide. And then you had the minister also of Women and Child, Smriti Irani, also saying in an interview that it could have been a suicide, insinuating that Sushant Singh had committed suicide. So when there are so many people speaking like this, it is as though they have been told by someone to make it, appear as a suicide, when it's obvious, that see, the photos were out. Everybody knows the kind of bruises that he had on his body, and everybody knows how, his face was, his eyes were blackened, and his neck had needle marks. His leg was broken, his spine was broken. And then if to say that, you mean to say that he's done all this to himself and by committing suicide?
and there is a plethora of evidence that was out there, a lot of digital evidence, a lot of physical evidence, a lot of circumstantial evidence, which clearly pointed towards a murder angle. That being said, a lot of harm was induced in this case by the authorities who were supposed to do a fair and square investigation.
Yes.
Evidences were tampered with, people got murdered, they got mysteriously killed in accidents or whatnot, or went missing. And now, this thing about circumstantial evidence is that, like, if justice is not delivered quickly, the credibility of the very evidence is becomes questionable by the day. And now, we don't have a proper post-mortem report, we don't have a body, so we don't have any DNA evidence that can point towards the uh, the perpetrators who were involved
But
in the
then,
crime.
Saffron, you being an IT person, I'm sure you know that these things are stored in the cloud as well.
Absolutely, ma'am. Yes, these things are, they are stored in the cloud. And one of the things why my faith in the judiciary justice is dangled is because there are certain factions, even of the central government, like the one that you just spoke about, who is promoting suicide theory, right? And if we are talking about digital evidence, do take a note that there was a visit by Mumbai police where they collected all that digital evidence. What did they do with it? There has been no measurable update that I've heard from the Mumbai police on what happened with it. There has not been any update from the CBI as well on that digital evidence. Like, they took a bunch of laptops and hard drives and whatnot, right? They also released some news that Sushant Singh changed multiple SIM cards. Not sure how much of truth was there, but if it was, then it clearly points towards the fact that it clearly points towards the fact that there were greater forces that were involved in creating like a kind of a storm in Sushant's life, which would invariably lead to his murder. So I think that a lot of evidence has been tampered, and that's why, beyond a reasonable doubt, just from a judicial perspective, it is very challenging. And we don't see any kind of support from the government, neither the state government nor the central government. So I feel it's only, like, karmic justice should play its role in bringing the criminals to justice.
Yeah. In fact, the politician Nilesh has said that it would be done, this case would be solved within 2 months, is what he said. So perhaps he said that they're all working on it and he cannot reveal much more, but within 2 months it should be solved, is what he said. So we can rest on that hope. that it may
Who said
be,
this, ma'am? Can you please repeat who said this?
Nilesh Rani, son of
Ma'am,
Rani.
it's good that he has been very vocal about it.
Mm.
But that being said, we have heard about such updates from various other personalities who could have made a positive difference in this movement and towards this case. Unfortunately, at least I can speak for myself. I won't speak on behalf of the SSRians, but I will believe it when I actually see it. But it's good thing that at least somebody from a political family is coming out and
And yeah, in
talking about.
fact, see, in that talk, Saffron, he was very, very bold. He spoke about a lot of things. He's accused the penguin, you know, and he said that he has to be arrested. So if you listen to that, it's quite interesting. It was conducted by a handle called NY Traveler. So it's pretty interesting. And also the fact that, see, this man hasn't, unlike the other politicians, he doesn't hide under a mask. So it was
Absolutely.
pretty, pretty good. Yes, yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Now
I
moving
think,
on to, yeah,
yeah. Go ahead, ma'am. No, I just wanted to say that they openly spoke about, like, finding out what was the location of Aditya Thackeray
yes,
from the cell
yes.
phone tower on the night the crime was committed.
Absolutely.
And,
Yeah,
it will, like, it will just, like, it will be a no-brainer and a dead giveaway
yeah,
for
absolutely.
solving the case.
Yeah. Now, moving on to the event of the year, you can say that is the pre-wedding, celebrations of Ambani's son, Anand Ambani, and the kind of fervor that it has created. So we can move on to these images. In fact, it's this one image that I like to particularly talk about, where you see Rihanna. She's wearing a costume in which she danced on stage, and you can say it's ripped open near her sleeve, you know. And to think that she made such a flimsy costume when she was paid 74 crores for her performance in India. Now she came with a lot of baggage, huge boxes, as big as the size of an elephant. What were in those boxes, we really don't know, because she's only worn a few flimsy clothes for her performances. So I don't know what is inside those boxes. These people should need to really check it, and I hope it not come unchecked, you see. And also the fact that, see, this woman, the R&B or pop singer, she's, in fact, she's not been uh, performing for the past 7 years. So they brought her here when everybody knows that she was the one who tried to instigate the farmers, you know, during the protest last year, and she and many of them were a part of the toolkit. Now, for them to call her and pay her such a huge amount really makes it a mockery, because in a country like India, where people try to even struggle for their 3 meals in a day, this sort of pompery, that is so shocking. And who are you entertaining? You're entertaining the boycott Bollywood gang, who like beggars, then rush to a place where they get free food, free stay in five-star hotels, and some gifts. So for that, for example, the whole, Taimur family, along with ayahs and everybody were there, and people were just going out there as though they've never seen such kind of, luxury and money. So it's rather cheap display of money and wealth. And there's also an image that I wanted to show you, where I just wanted to. Jaydev, do you think you can show that image where these people are waiting, the stars are waiting, in a room at a function earlier? Yes. So, and this Saffron is just see the comment by some Instagram person. औकात देखो इन सभी, सभी का अंबानी के घर में. See, they're all sitting like waiters, in the Ambani home. This is the status in front of Ambanis. They either serve food, or they sit like this waiting for to perform some sort of dance. So can you imagine what is I really don't understand. So if he is giving them a 3 night stay and entertainment and everything, the works, doesn't it mean that he also expects something back in return from these people? So what is it that he expects? So this is something perhaps you may like to answer.
Ma'am, absolutely. You're bang on when you said that this is their stature when it comes to being owned, literally owned by the richest man in India. And it's also a classic example of money talks and BS walks, right?
Yes, yes,
So Rihanna, someone like Rihanna could care less about the conditions of farmers. She was an inherent part of the toolkit gang, and I don't think any this farmers issue or any issue for that matter really makes any difference to her life or people of her sort. All they care about is money that they are being paid. Tomorrow, if we have money and we are able to pay her, she will promote our agenda if we have one, right? And that's why you're seeing, on one hand, it's this lady who was trying to instigate the farmers. I bet if the farmers even understood what she tweeted, there's a different audience that is there out on the social media platform. But of course, there were a lot of Indian media channels who raked up that issue and said that, oh, look at this lady who's a famous star celebrity who was, like, supporting the farmers. And that's why there was like a lot of unrest she tried to create by going against the Indian government and being siding with the Khalistani factions. Now you're seeing the exact opposite, where this business family has hired her for performing like in their wedding. And this kind of gives you an exact picture of that the only thing these people care about is attention and money. It kind of also puts a bad name to the business family, who on one hand does so much work in developing India, creating jobs and employment, but at the same time they are setting a very bad example when they are hiring someone like her, who blatantly went against the very idea of India and also the Indian government, and was supporting Khalistani factions who want eventually a separate country in the name of in the garb of amendments to the farmers protest.
yeah. And then you also have a singer like this, the Sadaji, I forget his name, Diljit or something, who also was against, spoke against the government. And these people are all called for to perform there. Now, I
Diljit
really don't.
Dosanjh.
Diljit, yes, yes. So he was also called. So all the anti elements are being called to entertain these people. And then later they attack them when it suits them. So I really don't understand what is the philosophy of these people. And moreover, see, another thing is that, again, speaking of the connection between the Ambani family and, the Bollywood fraternity, see, whatever Bollywood is showing in films, like Suraj Bhartia movies, where you have families, so closely knit. That's exactly how the Ambanis behave, on stage in front of these Bollywood people. So today, what I witnessed was that, see, this Anand Ambani was speaking some. See, his speech is not. It's a very childish kind of speech, and as he spoke about his father and mother, his father started crying. He was sitting in the audience and he started crying. Just like a child, because he was so happy that his son was praising him and the mother. And it was just a normal speech. And then what happens is, now, of course, we can predict, because there are 2 more days of celebration. Then they will start dancing together, everybody. They don't even know how to dance, except I think a few of them. And they'll all dance together like the movie where everybody is family. So they're trying to show that they are the ideal family. Because even this Anand also referred to the fact that, see, they are like Ram and Lakshman, and his sister is like, see, his a sister, I don't know who, but somebody is like Sita, and the whole thing. So they are a Ramayan family. So what I also noticed is that PR has been going overboard, praising this man, and I think trying to make him the next Ambani. So I think perhaps the parents prefer this boy to the other boy, because they're really promoting this man on India Today and all that. So what you can look at the power of the PR when you have money. You can do anything. You can create a Frankenstein out of, just even a child. So that's the kind of media we have in India today. Anything you say, because I remember, see, when I tweeted, I said that, see, this much amount, 74 crores, for a singer. Of course, the wedding is theirs, the money is there, they can spend it the way they want. Okay. But in a country like India, where people are still struggling, it seems like a mockery, of the whole thing. So when I tweeted that, of course, there were a lot of, most of them are, what you call trolls. So they said that, see, why did you buy your blue tick, on Twitter, you know. So I said, see, I'm a journalist. I need to have an authentic this thing, otherwise, and no, what side, didn't you do all these sort of things? I said, no, this is not my job. My job is to bring out the truth as a journalist. Anyway, I don't need to impress you. So see, they are questioning our small status, you know, compared to these big people and the kind of money they're throwing, you know. Some of the other extravagances that you hear of are the 1,000 dishes, that are being prepared by all the chefs, and that too through the night, which means all these people are night owls, you know. So the party time is usually night time, and that's when the food and drinks and all will be served. As you know, Jamnagar, they don't serve drinks, but there they have made a clause where people who come from abroad can bring their bottles. Some clauses there, and so that's how I suppose the drugs or whatever is being served there. So you see how they flout everything, to create. First of all, they create an aura of absolute patriotism, saying that, see, they came from Jamnagar, so they want to recreate beautiful, with so many temples and all that, and then they do all these things. So it's like, forgive people, need to forget them because they're doing so much good. Then these things are all allowable, you know.
Ma'am, imagine on one hand you are portraying yourself like a very godly family and
Yeah,
equating your sibling relationships or familial relationships with Ram, Lakshman, and Ramayanas and all these things. And on the other hand, you are curbing laws to introduce alcohol or drinks or whatnot, right? Just because your son is having a very lavish wedding.
yeah,
uh, I read a very interesting comment while I was going through this news on Twitter,
yeah,
and one gentleman tweeted that it's going to be around like 1,000 crore wedding or whatnot, but that is not even 0.1% of their income. On the other hand, middle people from middle class like us, they spend so much money, so much more than what these guys have spent in accordance to their net worth, right? And we spend all our hard-earned money on which we have paid taxes and whatnot and all sorts of things as a responsible citizen. And then still you are seeing that people like these are being promoted and they are getting all these druggies and characters like Rihanna. I'm surprised that they did not invite Katy Perry, or else, like, I wouldn't be surprised if they brought in more druggies from the West. But essentially, the point I'm trying to get to is it's all a game of showing and flexing your muscles, showing how powerful we are. We are above the law, and for all intents and purposes, I feel right now they have that power to. Uh, push a propaganda which would favor them in long run. And that's why I see it as an attempt, a brazen attempt to garner attention from all the classes. So for lower middle class or people who are religious, they would show that, oh, look at us, we are such a well knit family with all those moral values. For the druggies, they are trying to attract them by showing that, okay, we have these rave parties and rave celebrations on our son's wedding. And for other things, they have the media who will very tactfully swing these news into a positive agenda that will help them in long run.
yeah. So in this, when he made this speech, Anand Ambani, he said that my life has not been a bed of roses. So I'm just shocked. What is he saying? I mean, other than roses, what was his bed made of? You know. silver spoons. You know, what was it made of? And what are they trying to see? This is exactly what Bollywood tries to create. All these nepo kids are the same. They will all say that they went through very, very bad periods and all that, and boarding and blah blah blah. You know, and who are you talking to? You know, you're talking to Bollywood, who are the biggest hypocrites in the world. You know, they say, for example, I was just saying last week, Malaika says that, she is a vegetarian, vegetarian, and all that. And then, during the Jalak Tiklaja, lunchtime, she's having mutton, keema, everything, every sort of non-veg, anything that crawls, she's having. So why are you saying that you are a, vegetarian for what? Nobody's making you a, saint because you're a vegetarian. But that's exactly how, Bollywood is. So then you have more artificiality coming from Anand Bani, saying that, see, he's got to have a, bed of roses. And the moment he says that, his father starts shaking and crying. Luckily they didn't show the mother, crying. Otherwise, we would have had, a pool of water there. So this whole facade, it's
No,
going to continue for the next 3 days, 2 days.
it's a very carefully rehearsed speech, and the reactions, I'm pretty sure they are all told and informed about how best you can show your fake emotions so that you get all the positive sympathies and also a support, right? Because at the end of the day, they are where they are because the public is supporting them. And honestly, a part of me does not blame them for the way they are handling this matter, because that's how these there is a saying in Hindi, kasai bakra tabhi kaटता है जब लोग उसे खाते हैं. And a majority of us do give into these news and this agenda because we are not self aware. We are too busy working hard, feeding the mouths in our family and making a better life for our offsprings and our dependents, to be worried about how we are being manipulated at a
Yeah,
very high,
absolutely.
right? And that's why people like yourself and the other people who have been talking about these issues happening in India need to continuously show truth in front of the people, so that uh, a good amount of people are self-aware and have that spiritual awareness to decipher between right and wrong. And I believe that, not saying just because I'm on your channel, but I think you've done a wonderful job of
Thank you.
creating a certain set of audience who can distinguish and use their acumen to separate right from wrong.
Absolutely. It is with their support we have grown. Also, Saffron, with regards to Samir Wankhede, who is under the scanner for many irregularities, according to the NCB,
Mhm.
financial and procedural irregularities. Now, in
ED
an
as well,
interview,
right? ED
yeah,
also,
it,
yeah.
yes, in an interview with the Lallan Top, which is a part of the the India Today group, you know, so they were very critical about Wankhede, saying that, see, why is he wearing such a expensive watch, or why does he have a bar, you know? So in many ways, he even started saying different things to him, like when he said that, see, about Shah Rukh Khan, when he said if he is, if he gets a chance, he'll do it again, the Aryan Khan case. So the anchor said, is it a warning to Shah Rukh Khan? So Sam, he was very clear. He said, no, I'm a small man. Who am I to warn anybody? The person that you're referring to, I don't even watch many movies of him. I don't know their names. So immediately the anchor, look at the aggression. Are you telling me that you're not aware of the stardom of Shah Rukh Khan? I would prefer if you ask me about real heroes such as Modi ji or Shivaji Maharaj, is what Samir said. So you see how there is an agenda to corner Samir Wankhede, because Samir Wankhede exposed, the biggest wound, in Bollywood. That too, the son of a superstar.
It's such a shame. I would say it is such a shame. Leave alone the mainstream media. They are doing it because, of course, they are getting loads of funding from the PR Bollywood PR gang. Uh, and also certain corrupt ministers. But it is such a shame that some YouTubers from our SSR movement are brazenly peddling lies against Samir Wankhede, and they are hand in gloves with. They are no different than these mainstream media channels who are trying to malign this officer. And funnily, not so long ago, these were the same people who were inviting, pleading Samir Wankhede to come on their YouTube channels and give interviews, and which he was so kind enough to do that. And that's when it again comes down to the basics, right? Uh, in Hindi, they say, "साँच को आँच की जरूरत नहीं होती है, साँच को आँच नहीं लगती," which means that truth does not have any like, there are no challenges in truth. It's very
Yeah,
simple to be
absolute.
truthful, but that's
Yes.
in fact the most challenging thing to do. People are not truthful, and that is why my respect for someone like Samir sir
Yeah,
is
absolute.
skyrocketed, because he's taking them headstrong. He's grabbing the bull by its horns, and
Yeah,
like, he's not afraid to speak his mind, be it on a YouTube channel or on a bigger platform. His saying or his stand has remained the same, and I think it's our duty to it's the bare minimum we can do to support him, so that this Bollywood PR gang is
yeah.
staying in line.
Yeah, absolutely. And you could see through the interview where he would answer very clearly while the others were giving him, putting on devious questions, you know, to try to trap him that way, you know. So
Absolutely,
with,
ma'am.
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. So with this, we end this session, Saffron. Thank you so much for this wonderful session. It's gone off so quickly. And we'll meet you again next week. If you're free, we'll
Absolutely, ma'am.
discuss another part of what's happening. Good night, Jai Hind, and Jai Shri Ram.
Jai Shri Ram.